Hey, what's up, everybody? I haven't done one of these for a little bit. I wanted to go ahead and do one as you guys go ahead and, do your thing, like, share, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate it. I certainly do. I do these things and I have a lot of fun with them, and it's just a good way for me to kind of interact with you guys. And, there's not like a super ton of stuff to talk about, but if you guys would just be so kind as to like and kind of share it out, I would definitely appreciate it. Like I said, I enjoy doing these, and it's just something where I get a chance to kind of interact with you guys a little bit more and just have some fun. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but yeah, there was a few topics that I wanted to talk about, and I missed Crappy Mondays, so hey, why not make Tuesdays crappy all over again, right? Am I right? Heck yeah. So, yeah, what's up, Tony? I see a lot of cool people in the chat. Like, as you guys get in here, please like and share it out. We did officially come back with MNC last week, or on Sunday, excuse me, and it was good to be back, and Xbox Nation will be back tomorrow night as well, so I'm looking forward to getting back into those. I had to take a little bit of break from doing like the heavier podcasting schedule. I've been doing this stuff for years and years and years, and to be honest with you, man, it takes a little bit of a toll. So, to be honest with you guys, I like to keep everybody kind of abreast. I used to be the type of person that wouldn't really kind of talk about anything personal that goes on in my life, and then I kind of was like, it's really hard to connect with viewers if you're not at least somewhat honest and talk about your personal life a little bit. So, as you guys know, I had the flu and strep throat real bad for a week, and before that I had real bad car troubles. So, yeah, it's been a rough, I would say, 3 weeks or so, and then 3 days ago, I twisted my knee. And, someone who used to play football, that's me, by the way, if you didn't know, it sucks because I've had it happen before, and it's something like I'm a big guy, so it makes it incredibly hard to do anything. So basically, I'm just kind of laid up right now. I can't take care of the dogs, and work and all that kind of stuff. Is just one of those things where I can just kind of not do a whole lot of much because I'm just kind of recuperating, and that's hard for a person like me to do. Just to sit around and kind of not do anything. So, hey, I figured why not, do this and see what can happen, and like I said, so it's been a rough few weeks, but at the end of the day, I have been able to get a little bit more gaming in. That's a positive. I actually am a little bit into Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm playing that, and I got to say that I've been enjoying that. I actually won a code for Death Stranding, so I'm excited to kind of get in there and play that as well. I have fun with that, and I'm looking forward to it. I also got the Ghostbusters remaster, or whatever that is, and I'm actually having a blast with that too. So, gaming, fun. Luigi's Mansion is next up on the list. I hope to get that sooner rather than later. And, that's something that I'm looking forward to kind of diving into as well. We're over 100. Please hit the like button, share it out. I'm going to be doing questions and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you know what? Things get better. That's just life as an adult. I've noticed, ups and downs. Some things I have some ups with, and then some things you have downs with, and it's just, that's just one of those things that happens. So, for me, things will usually tend to kind of ebb and flow like that, but it is. Yeah, hey, you know what? Listen, I actually do like the new Call of Duty. It looks great. It does look really great. Lansville, he says, how do you feel that your team beat up on on the Patriots? Listen, I told everybody, man, Patriots, they hadn't played anybody. I wasn't sold on anything that they were doing. It's just one of those things where I just don't really think that they were that good of a team, and I didn't think my team was that good to beat them that bad, but man, we jumped all over them. And just the sports, I know nobody wants to really hear sports, but Tom Brady looked as old as I've ever seen him, and overall, I'm just proud of my team, man. They went out there and did what they had to do, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so Neo 2, yeah, I hear that's going to be something really good as well. So this guy is an Xbox fanboy or not. He used to suck off Xbox. Now he just bring up bad news. No, you know what? I'm just a gamer, man. I used to be more of an Xbox fanboy, but at least I admitted it. You know what I mean? I really liked Xbox. I liked what they were doing and all that kind of stuff. But now it's like more or less I just kind of try to be a little bit more neutral about things, but as someone who's invested a lot into Xbox this generation, it is a little bit disheartening to see some of the stuff that they've done. They've really kind of let me down personally, and I know not just me, like a lot of people they've let down. So that's something that we have to kind of all sort of deal with. You know what I mean? Like, I wish that they would have it's like they used to have this focus of a game type of situation, and now it's like their focus is all over the place. It's like streaming, PC, Game Pass. Is like, what are they going to do? And so, it's just one of those things for me personally where I just feel like they're all over the place, and I wish they would just kind of settle in a little bit more on that, on just the console again. You know what I mean? I do think that I do think that that's something that they can do, and I do have hope that they're going to do something good. Listen, they can't do anything worse. They can't really do anything worse. To be honest with you, I will. You know what? Death Stranding, I have it installed. I believe it releases in a few days to everybody, right? So I have it installed, and I'm going to play it. I'm going to let everybody know 100% honest. I have no agenda with the game since I got it for free. I have to be honest and say I really wasn't, looking forward to it. It looked weird to me, and I wouldn't have bought it myself if I didn't win it. So I'm going to give my honest review of it. I'm going to play it and see what it's all about. If it sucks, I'll say it sucks. I have no qualms about saying that it sucks or if it's good or bad or whatever. It did get some decent scores. The funny thing is the contention of the people. That's what I find most hilarious. And I've done this too in the past. Like, nobody has to throw it up. We all change. We all kind of point out things that we used to do or that we don't do. But for me personally, it's just so funny that, like, a lot of Xbox fans will be like, well, Metacritic doesn't really matter. And then as soon as a PlayStation game comes out that doesn't hit a 90, it's a bad game or whatever, right? Like, I've not really thought that. I thought that, my Xbox has had a lot of really low-rated games this generation, a lot of, like, 50s and 60s. And so those are pretty indicative of a bad game. That's not even to say that you can't have fun with those games, though. So you can still have fun with a game that's rated a 50 or 60, and I'm perfectly fine with that. My point has always been it's indicative of how a game is, just with, like, the quality and stuff like that. And most of the time it is. If you look at a game like Death Stranding, they created that game in 3 years. And it's a, 84, 85 on Metacritic, whatever it is. Now, that's pretty decent. But if you look at something like Crackdown 3, that took over 5 years to create and is a 59 on Metacritic. So, again, just like different developers can do different things, and it's just very indicative. I'm not saying that one's going to be better than the other. I find Death Stranding to be incredibly niche. So it's really going to take a lot of time. What's up, TLR9? It's really going to take up a lot of time to see exactly what that game's all about and if it's something I enjoy. I hear it's very, like, movie-oriented with a lot of cutscenes. But if you ever played a Kojima game like Metal Gear, you know that for the most part, with the exception of 5, his games are all like that anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be... it's going to be very interesting. MJ Flick says, I heard it's just a hiking game that doesn't sound better than Gears 5. I don't think anybody's going to... It's really ignorant, I guess, really to kind of really compare it in a serious tone to Gears 5. They're such different games, and their audiences are going to be so different. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us like to do things just for a laugh or say things for a laugh or just to be funny. And so that's the part that kind of, that for me... That comes into play with this kind of stuff. Like, I'll joke around. Like, yesterday, Death Stranding went up to an 85. I made an obvious joke on Twitter about how, thank goodness, it made itself up to 85 so we could stop worrying about those trashy 84 and below games that Xbox has, right? Because the funny thing is Halo 5, Gears 4, and Gears 5 are all 84 Metacritic, right? So I was making a joke. Some people got really, really upset and sensitive about it, and it was just like something that was kind of funny. And, yes, I'm looking forward to Jedi Fallen Order as well. I hear it's like Dark Souls-ish, which worries me. So I hope there's a difficulty setting, though, and they make it at least accessible. I don't mind. I think, like, something with lightsaber contact, it's really, really cool. But I just really, I just hope that it's not super difficult. Like, whenever they say it's like Dark Souls, it kind of worries me a little bit. I don't mind the fact that you got to block and parry, because there's a lot of games that do that, and it makes sense for a lightsaber combat game to do that. As you guys come in, please hit the like button, share it out. I definitely appreciate it. Hold on. 9 Lives, he says, did you see that Phil said The Outer Worlds and Gears 5 did well? Listen, what did you expect him to say? He also said that Quantum Break did well, and Sunset Overdrive did well, and you know what I'm saying? Like, he's the head of Xbox. He's not going to come out there and go, well, they really did under our expectations. He actually also said Gears 4 did well, but it leaked out that they weren't really happy with that. As you guys come in here, please hit the like button. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes really, really quickly. I would appreciate it. Yeah, look, anything is niche. I think Death Stranding is incredibly niche. You know, Gears of War used to be a very popular game franchise, and now I think that's even niche. And look at what they've done to that. Like, I know I get a lot of crap because I continually bring up Gears 5, but just look at the facts real quick, okay? They're charging $5 for a curb stomp animation that was free previously. Like, how is that in a premium game? I know it's in Game Pass, but it's still a premium game. Microsoft has to decide what they want to do. Is it a premium game? Is it a freemium game? Is it a free-to-play game? Like, to me, you have a complete game. Why are you selling an animation for $5 or $8 or skins for $10 or $20? Like, and I know you can earn them, but the way you earn them is such a grind. It reminds you of, like, the mobile phone games and stuff. I don't understand it. Like, that's the thing that pisses me off. It's so frustrating when Microsoft, like, Gears 5 could be a really good game for them, but they don't know who their audience is. They don't know who they're trying to attract, and I think that's a bit of a problem. So, yeah, you know, I hope that they can get that worked out. Hey, I appreciate it, Longshot. What game do I think will win Game of the Year? Asked Fran. You know what? I actually don't know. It's been a rough year for games. Sekiro is at like a 90 or 91. And then Resident Evil 2 Remake is up there over the 90s. Those are the only two. So it could be a surprising thing. Like, I say don't count out Death Stranding, but who the heck knows? At the end of the day, I certainly don't. I think it's going to be very interesting to see. I'm interested to see who wins. I think it's been a lackluster year, though, for games. And, you know, and hopefully we can fix that next year. I think next year is going to be a much better year for gamers, and I think for higher rated games and stuff like that. So I'm very excited to see it. And, you know, next year, like I said, we're going to have The Last of Us 2. We're going to have Halo Infinite. We're going to have, sorry, buddy, I was pouring your juice, and, yeah, and there was no top on it. Here we go. Yeah, sorry. Got dad duties, you guys. There's a sick one here. So anyway, yeah, you know, it's one of those things where I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly what can, yeah. I will, okay? So I'm really looking forward to seeing what can happen next year. Again, there's going to be so many good games that come out next year, so I'm really, really starting to get excited for that and to see exactly what's going to happen with, you know, with that in the future as well. Again, I think the Jedi Fallen Order, if that thing scores well enough, we might actually see something that could surprise people, and that game might actually be in the running for something. So I think it'll be interesting to see, and I'm excited to see exactly what happens with that stuff going forward as well. But yeah, I think this year has been a little bit of a letdown in terms of what we all expected. When you think, oh, we're going to get Days Gone and Gears of War and Death Stranding and, you know, all these great games, and then they turn out, you know, they're okay, but maybe people are sort of Devil May Cry 5, actually. Enrico, he brings that up. Hey, that's a good possibility too. Devil May Cry 5, that could surprise some people. I saw somebody say Crackdown 3, don't do drugs. Do not do drugs. 9 Live says, Phil also said crazy growth for Game Pass. Well, I mean, you know what? Crazy growth. What else is he going to say, man? They were giving that away for $1. I would assume that equals crazy growth, but is that going to be the case? Are people going to continue to pay that? Like, that's the thing that I would question. Are they really going to be able to sort of pay that and stuff like that? So I think that it's going to be hard to tell going forward, but I hope that they do. Let's see. Resident Evil 2 has been my game of the year so far. Very intrigued by Death Stranding. Well, we'll see about Crab Jr. Listen, Resident Evil 2 was great. I thought that remake was awesome. It really surpassed my expectations. I was like, well, what are you going to do with the remake? You know, we already played the game, but it was like it was basically a totally new game. Sure, if you remembered some of the stuff, it was cool to see that come about or whatever, but, you know, I did think that it was such a game that they did well with, and it really preserved what many of us thought of as one of the best or the best Resident Evil game. And if it wasn't for the fact that I don't think a remake can win a game of the year, it could. I think it possibly could. I think last year, according to Low End Average Gaming, says I think last year's games set a bar for quality games that was going to be impossible to match. Yeah, you know what? I really do think that that's something. Stin Cruising, yes, long video. I was gonna do one yesterday, but I was a little bit busy, man. I've been a little bit under the weather. I sprained my knee. It's been a little rough, but here I am doing this. MJ Flick says Game Pass is a new blockbuster video for games. Ain't nothing wrong with that. No one wants to pay $60 for games anymore unless it's fire. Well, listen, it depends. I think that's how Microsoft wants to work it. But to be honest with you, it's also backfired for them a bit. So let me ask you guys this, and this is a serious question. Now, would you rather just have things go back to the way they were, and you pay $60 for your Gears of War, and there's not kill animations for $5 or $8 and skins for $10? Like, to me, that's very, very tacky. That's very like mobile game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like that South Park with the freemium games. It plays like a freemium game. Like, you can earn this stuff, right? It's like 500 iron, but you only earn a few iron for every 10 matches or whatever. So it's like almost kind of ridiculous the amount that you have to put in days and days and days to earn any of this stuff, or the characters or the animations. So it's like, even if you did pay $60 for this game, you still have to do that. Otherwise, you just have to play. It's like realistically holding you hostage to get the things that should be included in your $60 to begin with. So I do feel like that's a little bit of a problem. Hey, we're over 200 watching on an impromptu show. Please hit the like button, share it out, everybody. Let's get up over 100 likes. Yeah, Luigi's Mansion, I hear that is absolutely incredible. Mooch is playing it. WRZ Cup is playing it. I know a lot of people that are playing it. Again, Nintendo, really, that's their thing. They really nail the exclusive games. I know a lot of people act like exclusives don't matter. They don't like Nintendo or whatever. But let's be honest, Nintendo does exclusives right. And I got to say, even though I haven't picked this game up yet, I'm looking forward to getting it. I have the first two on the 3DS, so I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what this next one's all about. I hear it's really well done, and so yeah, I've got nothing but praise and excitement to actually get a chance to play that a little bit later. So yeah, I went through my little phase where I wasn't having fun gaming for a little bit. Sometimes that happens or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm having a good time with gaming again, and there's some decent games coming out. It doesn't mean that I let Xbox off the hook, though, because, again, I've had such a kind of up and down relationship with Xbox this generation. I just, it just hasn't been my cup of tea, you know what I mean? So hopefully it's something that, that they can fix. And I have a feeling that they are going to do better and that they will do better. I just feel like maybe for me it's a little bit too late, for the simple fact that, it's been so long already, and we haven't seen anything new from them that really is impressive. So I know that we have I know that we have the Outer Worlds, but I would even question this. If you look at the Outer Worlds, okay, would Microsoft have greenlit the Outer Worlds? And I know for a fact that Microsoft, and I've heard everybody say this before, they go, well, Microsoft lets these studios do what they want now, et cetera, and I get that, and I think that it's cool that they give creative freedoms, but I still think that they have a narrative, a checklist that they're going to have to do for the future with their games. Like, every game's going to have some kind of online multiplayer, and every game's going to have some kind of microtransaction ability. Microsoft has slowly turned into EA 2.0, in my opinion, and I don't think that's good for anybody. I love that Game Pass is looked at as such a treasure trove and a good value, and I find it to be a good value. But if you're going to change all the games that are going in there almost to like this freemium situation, then maybe it's not such a good value, right? If you're just going to put games in there the way they are, then I think that's cool. But I just hope that they actually do that and they stop with this kind of like nickel and diming you to death. It's like, are you punishing us for using your Game Pass service, or are you giving it's supposed to be for the players and for the gamers and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that they can continue to do that, because I think that's something that people deserve to know. I just think that it's ridiculous that they're charging all this money for this kind of stuff. So, Enrico says, if I'm not willing to pay $60 for a game, I will not play it. I agree. When Crap retires, Crap Jr. will do all the videos for PS6, PS7, and PS8. Don't forget, they did it all the way up till the PS10. So yeah, we got that coming too as well. Jamie says Game Pass and Microsoft Rewards feel like a pyramid scheme. Yeah, see, like, this is the thing I'm saying. I think it's fine. Like, at first, I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm not really going to use it, but I definitely can see the person that's going to use it, and it hasn't really affected me in any way negatively. But now with games like Gears of War, and then you know that Halo is going to be the same way, it's just like nickel and dime, nickel and dime. Holy crap, why is a curb stomp animation from Gears 3 $5? Why does it take me, 10 days of playing to earn this? It just doesn't make any sense. It's like you either got to grind, or pay up, and I don't like that. It makes you kind of wonder what's going to happen to Halo, and also, just thinking about the negatives of it, is Forza Horizon 4, right? Like, they turned that into, like, this huge games as a service situation, and I don't like that at all. Like, I think I think Forza Horizon 4 is a good game, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's as good as Forza Horizon 3, and I think that their first-party studios are actually making games now with Game Pass in mind and with a set of things that they have to hit and check off to be able to put their games in Game Pass. So that's a little bit unfortunate to me. I do like that, though, that it's kind of like a pyramid scheme. Excuse me. Everybody hit the like button. I appreciate it. MJ Flick says, I don't require heavy violence to enjoy a game, but I get it. I got Gears 4 for $10, but it was late to the gen. Yeah, and they even gave the game away, but you have to wonder. Gears of War 5 is sitting at, I think, number 28 out of 30 in the top 30 for games played. Like, it's behind Madden 18. I mean, it's behind some really games that you kind of question if there's even anybody playing at this point. And when you look at the forums, people are extremely unhappy. Now, this was my favorite franchise for a very, very long time, and I understand that times change, and it does suck. I have to be honest with you, like, previous Gears, even 4, my brother, Hellhammer, and myself, we always played through every Gears game together. We never failed. We always played through every single one together, and my buddy Gravedigger and me and Mooch even would play through these games and the multiplayer. None of us have any intentions of going back and finishing the game or the campaign or playing any of the multiplayer. It's just something that, nobody's talked about. Nobody plans on doing it. And there's just something different about this Gears as opposed to other ones where it's just very upsetting and kind of sucks to see kind of what's going on with that franchise. And you have to wonder if we'll actually see a straight up sequel to the next one or not. I'm not sure how I feel either way, but it's going to be very interesting to see how it works out. Chanda says, everyone got Spider-Man for Black Friday. No one really spending $60 for it. That's not true. That game sold 5 million in 3 days. So there was no Black Friday deals for that. They announced their numbers pretty much right off for it. In fact, that game did so well for Sony that they bought the studio. That's their best-selling game this generation. I mean, anybody can say any game can get bought cheaply on Black Friday, but for that game, they were pretty consistent with announcing the numbers pretty much throughout the year. So, yeah, I think that game did incredibly well. And even on Black Friday, because I think that game came out in the September, it was still like $30-$40, so it wasn't like a huge discount like it was a $20 thing or something like that. Looks like Microsoft is blind Platonic. I don't know. What do they do? Maybe you can fill me in on what they do. It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure exactly what they do. One Typical says, people say Kojima is the reason scores for Dark Souls or Death Stranding are high, but what if Gears 5 wasn't on Game Pass? Listen, and Ryzen Gamer, what's up, man? Everybody hit the like button. Please, please, please do me a favor. Again, not just me, but any content creator you support, the best thing you can do for them is like their videos. It helps them get their traffic seen, and it helps with the algorithms and stuff like that. So maybe Kojima gets a rub. I've thought about this. We talked about this on MNC. It could get a rub. I'm not sure. Maybe people just like Kojima. The guy is like a living legend. So I could understand that a little bit. But you have to think that Gears and Halo and any big game gets that same kind of rub. Now hear me out. Gears of War 5 seems like it's much better than Gears of War 4 in my opinion. But they're both rated 84 Metacritic. So what's that say about Gears of War 4? Well, you go back and look at Gears of War 4, and maybe that game deserves to be in the 70s somewhere in Meta, right? So I think Gears, like the names, basically help these games out as well. So it's not just a Kojima thing or anything like that. Same thing with Halo 5. That game's an 84 on Meta, but is it really an 84? I don't know if it is. I think maybe just the name Halo kind of helped propel that. And I think even the Master Chief Collection is an 85, and that was a broken mess. So the names of these things definitely help a lot with this type of thing, and hopefully that's not something that we have to deal with in the future. I would rather just these people review things on the merits, but I'm not the type of person that would buy or not buy based on a review to begin with, so it doesn't really matter much to me. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. What did Playtronic make? I've never even, I can't think of anything offhand. 36 Black says, my experience playing games on Game Pass has been that it feels very cold. After Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4, I can see exactly what Game Pass is. Exactly. It's just one of those things where it just feels like it's a place where they're putting their like freemium games. Lansville says, crap, you did it again. Gots to work hard for 2 PS5s day one later. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by, my friend. I appreciate it. Thomas says you forgot Fable 4. No, I'm looking forward to Fable 4 or Fable Reboot or whatever they're doing. But I wouldn't be surprised if that has co-op, online co-op, and some kind of like skins for your character or something like that. Like I am definitely not surprised, or wouldn't be surprised if that has a lot of different, buy your character this and make your avatar that, or something along those lines. And I'm gonna call it now. I think Halo Infinite is going to have some kind of Destiny-esque feel to it, with dailies and events and stuff like that, I think, and a hub world possibly. I think they're definitely going to go in that direction. And for me, that might kill off Halo for me completely finally. Halo 5 did a pretty good job at doing that, but for me, not every game needs a hub world, and not every game needs dailies and weeklies, and has to be a games as a service with microtransactions. If Sony and Nintendo can put out great quality games with limited or no microtransactions, I think Microsoft, the $1 trillion company, can do that as well. MJ Flick says it's only bad if you buy games when they first come out if you want things to get cheaper. I think it depends. You know what I mean? Like, if I really want something, like I really want Jedi Fallen Order. So, by the way, if somebody wants to hook me up with that, MOH Space Crapgamer, man, I would appreciate it. If not, I'll just pick it up myself. But EA are real. It's real hard for me to get review codes for EA. They only give them to certain people. Lately over the past couple years, so it's one of those things where even if I tried to get a review code, I probably couldn't. But yeah, like, I'm looking forward. That's the only game for the rest of the year that I'm really looking forward to. So hopefully next year is going to be a better year for gaming. I'm excited about what we're going to get next year as well. 36 Black says, I guess I would say Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4 feel very corporate. That's a good way to put it. They feel very corporate. They feel very cold and kind of like, like they're just trying to, like the suits are sitting there telling them what to do, even though they say that Game Pass has nothing to do with the development of these games, etc., etc. I feel that same way, man. I really appreciate your input, because I've been thinking of a way to kind of get that across as well. I think that they're good games, but they just feel very like, a lot of the decisions made around these games just feel like they're out of the developers' hands, and I don't really like that feeling. Enrico says, when do you think you might pick up Scarlett next gen, as you did say you are not getting it at launch? Possibly if they come out with something that really, really requires Scarlett to run it great. Right? I think that Halo, I can play it fine with my X. Even the next Forza with the X. So I think, maybe Fable if it requires something. I don't know, but I'm not really in a hurry to get a Scarlett. It's just one of those things where, I feel like Microsoft does some things right, but I feel like they still owe me some great games for my Xbox One X, and I put all this money into this console and for this entire generation, and I just feel a little bit ripped off from some of the things that they've done. Let's see. Wayne Bond says, hey, Crap, what game you most hope to see on PS5? I want to see God of War 2. Obviously, I want to see, like, Spider-Man 2. I would like to see... I'm interested to see... It's because it's heavily rumored and leaked that there's going to be an Uncharted, right? And maybe it's his son and daughter that are going to be playing the roles now. I don't know. But it's not made by Naughty Dog. It's going to be made by a different studio with people who worked at Naughty Dog. Sort of like a 343 situation. So I'm very interested to see them continue that on. from that perspective. So that's what I'm hoping for. As everybody comes in, hit the like button. Very close to 100 likes. I really, really do appreciate it. Let's see. General Thad says, "What's up, Crap? How's it going?" You said you sound like you're in a good mood today. What's up with that? I wouldn't say that I would just say that each day, like, we have the ability to, and look, I've been very honest about, like, some of the stuff that I go through. And the reason why I do that isn't for sympathy or anything like that. It's because everybody goes through stuff, right? We all go through. None of us know what somebody else is going through. So maybe somebody goes, "Hey, man, was able to get his dog crap channel up and do okay. And he deals with, depression and anxiety and all this kind of stuff. And, maybe I can do that too." Or, you know what? He can't even walk right now because his leg's wrapped up because he twisted his knee. But here he is podcasting, just kind of not letting stuff stop him. And he's got, I decided to podcast today just to have some fun because I was a little bit bored and I feel a little bit cooped up. You know what I mean? I'm taking care of my sick kid, and I just wanted to talk a little bit of video games and have some fun. So it's like, it's just one of those things. We approach things differently each day. I'm having fun again with some video games. A little bit of pain here and there, but just let you know, man, like, every day, everybody's life can go either way, and it just depends on how you take it, man. I could choose to be upset and stuff like that today, but I decided not to. So that's why I'm kind of in a good mood. Let's see. MTL Snipes says Death Stranding is trash. Well, I haven't played it yet. If it's trash, I'll say it is. Jay Summer says Xbox is all about the money. Sony PS4 is all about the games. I kind of agree with that, although they both want money. Yes, hit the like button. Dominic says crap will be Xbox redeemable in your eyes if they don't step their game up in the next gen. No, they have I think a couple year buffer going into next generation. Now, if they don't really come out swinging with, maybe they don't have to come out with everything at once at the launch of Scarlett, but they certainly need to actually, come out there and say, hey, this is what we're working on. We've got this game. We've got that game. I feel like that's stuff that they really need to kind of work on and get right for next generation. So I do feel like they have some things that they can do and they can redeem themselves. And I feel like I want them to redeem themselves. I don't want to hate Xbox, man. I like Xbox. I like their controllers. They just come out with that new Elite 2 controller. It seems like it's really cool. I had to cancel my pre-order for that because it got a little expensive, but it's still a great controller. The original Elites are really great controllers too. Their hardware is good. Their UI is kind of crappy for some reason. I don't agree with everything they try to do, but I do think that they do good things. But the games are the most important thing, and I feel like they forget that a lot of the time. So that could be a problem as well. T-Rock40, what's up, my friend, says they charge for those things because people pay for them. If no one bought them, they would change their model. Well, they might see nobody sticking around, T-Rock, if you think about it. Gears 5 is sort of a games as a service as well, but it's almost out of the top 30. And if nobody's sticking around to buy these things, then it must prove that that's a problem. And if you look at the forums, people are complaining. People are really upset about this stuff. So I understand that some people will still buy that stuff, but that doesn't really give Microsoft the excuse to hound everybody and nickel and dime everybody. Until they aren't selling games for a full $60 anymore, these are still premium AAA games, and people deserve not to be hounded for nickel and dime every 2 seconds for this stuff. Outer Worlds is apparently doing very well on PlayStation as well. So, good for them. I'm happy. Obsidian is a very good developer. It's not my cup of tea. I didn't even bother to download it. A lot of people are saying it's a cross between Fallout and like a Mass Effect or something. But the first-person shooter RPGs really aren't my thing. So yeah, that's a hard pass for me. I hope that they come out with something really good though, next generation exclusive to Xbox. I would love to see them do that. Does that make Gears 5 one and done? For a lot of people. I mean, you played through the campaign or whatever, and then you're kind of done with it. As you guys come in, please hit the like button. We are so close, about 20 away from 100 likes. I would definitely appreciate that if you could go ahead and do that. Xavier Starger says Uncharted 4 and microtransactions too. Listen, I'm not saying that not every game needs to have no microtransactions. I'm just saying, like, you're talking about a premium game, and the multiplayer is something that Gears is known for. Because I think The Last of Us, also the multiplayer had some like sketchy microtransactions, like for animations and stuff. So it's nothing new. It's not like Sony's not done this stuff too, but they did it. It seemed like last generation, where Microsoft has had kind of struggled with this stuff. This entire generation, and it's really kind of unfortunate, but I do hope that they can actually go out there and kind of and change for the better, because I would love to see people stick around for Gears. Gears is such a good franchise. I just hate seeing it kind of suck so bad lately. Let's see. Miss MJ Flick says Horizon 3 is the best DLC ever with the Hot Wheels, and still have Toyota with the Supra and better water-based setting than Horizon 4. Is better because of the weather and the amount of cars. Yeah, also I like that they stuck more to the story and the actual the actual event itself with Horizon 3. It was like more focused on the festival, whereas if you look at like the festival setting and stuff like that on Horizon 4, it's almost non-existent, and it's just like, oh well, do get to level 10 in mud, get to level 10 in street racing, get to level 10 in this. It like doesn't really feel as festival focused as previous games, and it just seems like, do your dailies. It's like Destiny on wheels. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it's not as good as 3. Beyond Beowulf says, tried Game Pass for a month. Best dollar I spent. Too bad I didn't renew. Listen, they keep offering this stuff for $1. Why would you bother to renew? It's kind of crazy, right? Kim says, if Game Pass is bad for sales, why is the Outer World number 3 sold game and bought on Xbox Market Crap? Well, listen, wouldn't the game still be counted as that? It doesn't mean, like, I guess it depends on how many games have come out. If you sell, 20,000 copies and nothing else is selling like that, I mean, that could be a good indication of it, wouldn't it? I mean, we'll have to see what happens with the NPD, but look at Gears 5, number 7 in NPD. The lowest score, the lowest sales ever for a Gears of War game. Like, that's not good. That's not good in my opinion. And it would be one thing if if Gears was still in the top 10 played games, or if Microsoft even announced any numbers for Gears. What numbers have we got for players for Gears of War 5 outside of that first week? When has Microsoft ever just totally disregarded numbers so quickly for a game? Their flagship franchise, mind you. They haven't mentioned not Nasher kills, not 50% save JD, 50% save Dell, not any, they haven't given any numbers for anything. So yeah, it is a little bit interesting. Crab, the Chosen One says, crap, the first PS5 will be 1 terabyte or 500 gigs. It's going to be a terabyte. There's no way that they can do 500 gigs anymore. These games are coming on those double-coated, layered 100 gig 4K Blu-rays. That's, if you're talking about installing that stuff, that's less than 9 games, because by the time you have your system stuff in there, it's just going to be kind of crazy. You're not going to be able to do 500 gigs anymore. You wouldn't even get 3 games on there. Let's see. Pedro says, are you familiar with Fantasy's online cancellation? No, I haven't seen anything like that. General Thad says, I have the special edition Gears 5 Xbox One X and haven't finished the game yet. It's glitched. I'm stuck. Don't feel like messing with it anymore. Welcome to the club. This was exactly my problem that I had as well. It's unfortunate that it's a game that was really sort of having so many problems. Plantronics, headsets, and stuff like that. Perhaps, I don't know if that'll be it or not. Death Stranding 6.8 crap. Come on, explain. Listen, I don't know. Like, you can sit there and people do this with Death Stranding. I assume you're referring to the IGN review. Different people review different games for these places, okay? So somebody that maybe reviewed Death Stranding at IGN and gave it a 6.8, and then you want to show me something like Barbie Simulator that got like a 7, right? That might have been reviewed by somebody totally different. So it's all opinion-based anyway. Like, it doesn't really matter. If you want to play the games, play it. I think it's funny, like, to talk up the scores and stuff like that, because it pisses people off, and that's kind of fun to push buttons a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's like, who really cares? If you're going to play it, or if you were interested in that game, then you're still going to be interested in it. It didn't get a bad score by any means. So, you know what I mean? Just for me personally, I just think that it's something that, people are just going to have to sort of deal with sooner or later. Like, and I think that it's fine. I think that the game is going to be fine. Will it be a game that I enjoy? Hell, I don't know. I'm going to play it and see. 36 Black says Xbox also feels like it's becoming one large recurring monetization scheme, taking into account trying to sell rent to Xbox and Game Pass. I agree. Satanist says you don't get a rub unless you make good stuff, and you're only as good as your last game, so there is no rub. You could be right, man. I'm not saying for sure that I think there is. I just think that he's a legend, so he probably, if he does, he's earned it. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking the guy. I think it's fine. Fran says, I heard Microsoft is buying Boss Key Productions. Hey, everybody, look out. It's it's going to be exclusive to Xbox. Lawbreakers 2, you heard it here first. Cliffy B, baby. Cliffy B, he's back. And he's bringing Lawbreakers 2. It's going to sit side by side with Bleeding Edge, you guys. Snake says, I've been hearing people are scared to get on his bad side. I mean, that could be it. He probably has a lot of friends. Look at his friends in the industry. He's like best friends with the guy who runs the Game Awards for, you know what I mean? Like, of course, like there could be some percussions there. Kevin Mack says, if Death Stranding was developed by an unknown developer, it would get a better score in the expectations that are put on Kojima. You could be right there as well. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. Wow, I'm way behind in some of these stuff. Everybody hit the like button, very close to 100 likes. Outer Worlds would be better if the worlds you go to weren't so small, lacking exploration, not feeling real. Well, listen, Outer Worlds, it's a AAA game, but it's not a huge like AAA game, okay? So you have to keep that in mind as well. It's one of those things where it was funded by Private Division, which is like a subsidiary or like the indie group of Take-Two or whatever. So it's not exactly like a full like unlimited budget type of situation. Like, so, I think it's going to be good. It's probably a good franchise if you like those type of games like Fallout and stuff like that. But is it something that I'm interested in? Jellery says maybe Pillars 2 will be Xbox exclusive from Pillars, man. Those are like PC things, man. They need something that's going to be great. Like, listen, I'm not a fan of Outer Worlds, but they need something like that that's exclusive that gets people talking, because everybody's talking about Outer Worlds, right? They love it or whatever, and it's a good new IP and blah, blah, blah. But, they need something that's exclusive. Let's see here. I agree. T-Rock says, I agree that people are leaving, just pointing out that they will charge for anything if gamers pay for it. If the multiplayer portion was free, it would be different, i.e. Fortnite. Yeah, listen, I feel like that's one of the things that Microsoft does that pisses me off to no end. And as you guys please join in, please like it out and share it and all that kind of stuff. We're very close to 100 likes. If you look what's going on in the gaming industry, Microsoft, they talk a good game for a lot of this stuff, right? And I'm okay with that. Like, hey, we're for the gamers, play your games anywhere, on any device, yay! But then it's like, if you guys are really so friendly, why do you charge to play free-to-play games online when even Nintendo doesn't do that? Like, that's the question that I ask, and you kind of like shake your head a bit thinking, that's so weird, because they probably make a ton of money, or they probably get people who only pay Xbox Live Gold to play Fortnite. And that, to me, is crazy. You know what I mean? Remember, like, you used to need Xbox Live Gold to watch Netflix or Hulu or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that stuff to me was kind of crazy to think about it. Let's see. One Typical says, IGN has been trashed for years. Funny how when they gave Death Stranding a bad score, they're suddenly the most valid site for Xbox fans. Yeah. Hey, Biggie, what's up, man? I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. Let's see. X Initiative says, Crap, you ever thought about game streaming? A crappy Game Pass challenge? Would love to watch you stream some of those games. Listen, I would never, ever like anything more than to stream games. The unfortunate reality is my internet is not good enough to stream games. I think you need at least like a 5 up to stream relatively clear. And my upload speed is like 1.2. So yeah, my upload speed isn't nearly good enough. Sometimes it can be 1.5, but it's not nearly good enough. Now they may upgrade in the next couple years, and I think that'd be cool. I'd love to do some game streaming and just kind of show off. Everybody always gets a kick out of my gameplay anyway, or hey, I play on easy or whatever. So I think it'd be fun, and I would actually like to do that. So, let's see. Better move from Microsoft would have been just to delve into the mobile market and leave console gaming as is. Well, listen, they're doing mobile market with console gaming. They think that that's the next big thing. I fail to see it. Look, Stadia launches in 2 weeks. I hear nothing about it. xCloud's been going on now. I hear nothing about it. If it wasn't for the tried and true, like, hardcore Xbox fanboys that are like, Xbox does no wrong. Xbox is great. Everything they do is great. Phil Spencer's the man. Like, those are the only ones that are like, holy crap, xCloud is so amazing, right? Like, I personally don't care about xCloud at all. It's like, I don't have the time to do that. If I really wanted to play handheld games, I'd play the handheld games that I have to begin with. So, yeah, I'm not really super thrilled or anything by any of this stuff. It doesn't impress me. xCloud, none of this, like, stream. Like, Sony's been doing this stuff. This stuff has been available widely for a while now. So, Bleeding Edge will outscore Final Fantasy VII Remake and sell more. Oh, Axel, are you seriously are you really going to say that? Man, that's just, I don't see how that could be possibly true, to be honest with you. Bleeding Edge looks terrible. Not only does Bleeding Edge look terrible, but you know, that game is just got totally outshined by Overwatch 2. So Overwatch 2 has, like, what, a single player and 30 some characters and all these different levels, and is compatible with Overwatch 1 and, you know, all this stuff. And Bleeding Edge just looks like a cheap knockoff. So yeah, like, I don't really think that we're gonna have to worry about much in that terms. Yoshida says Mooch and Crab morning show. Yes, exactly. Gears Pop. Yeah, ATLR90 says, I thought you were going to do some unboxing and stuff on camera. Yeah, you know what? Like, I had that stuff coming. Then what happened was they took out the Hangouts. So I had to learn, like, OBS. Then I had to move and, you know, set some stuff up. So, yeah, like, that stuff is still coming. Just to be real, man, I had contemplated stopping doing YouTube. You know, it's a real struggle because the YouTube, like, when I first started doing YouTube, it was a lot of fun, and I had, like, this character, and it was fun to do that, and I would cuss, and it would be kind of like, I like being like the Howard Stern of video games, or whatever, Bubba the Love Sponge, if you guys know him, of video games, and that was fun. But then YouTube changes, and they don't allow that stuff anymore, and it's like, okay, and now it's like, it seems like they update their algorithms and they update the things, and like they're like, hey, you can see how many people got a notification for your last video, and it's like 1% or 1.5%. It's like, you know, I get it, not everybody's a fan, and people aren't subscribing like they used to and stuff like that. But it's like, damn, man, when 1% of people are getting notifications for my stuff anymore, right? Like, that's a bummer. So I had contemplated not doing it anymore, but you know, I'm having fun still, and as long as I'm having fun, I'll continue doing it. So yeah, but that stuff is coming. I think next gen's going to be different. So I actually am looking forward to changing up the content to just kind of maybe being more game related, you know, and stuff like that, because I feel like it's going to be very difficult to really talk about the differences between Xbox and PlayStation, because they're going to be so similar. Both of them are going to do almost the exact same thing. It's going to come down to the content, and we'll have to see how that works out. But I am definitely looking forward to seeing what they both have to offer. As you guys get in here, hit the like button. We're a couple away from 100. I would appreciate that. 36 Black says, the one place where reviews matter is the technical and performance side. For instance, some people may have fun with Crackdown 3, but technically the game is hot trash. Listen, Crackdown 3 was a huge letdown for me, right? I understand that people, quote-unquote, had fun with it, but at the same time, you know, that game, with this amount of time that it took to develop, I just do not understand how that game came out the way it did, almost like with an incoherent story. It's like worse than the first Crackdown, right? Like, I get that it looks better technically, but it just, like, in a lot of ways was worse than the first Crackdown, and the controls are stuck in the past. So yeah, it really is kind of bad. Wayne says Stadia's DOA. Have I played Bleeding Edge? No, I gave away my code for Bleeding Edge, man. I had one for the beta or the alpha or whatever that is, but honestly, it's just not my cup of tea. Hey, don't get me wrong. I don't like Overwatch either. I've actually played that, though. That's not my cup of tea, but yeah, like, that's just not really my game. Joe Parsons says, the funny thing is Xbox is no longer gamer friendly. You can't even call customer service. You literally have to go on their website and have them call you. Yeah, you know what? 1-800 for my Xbox or whatever the heck it used to be really cool. You know, you could call that and they'd help you out. Now it's like you don't get anything. X Initiative says if they gave Bleeding Edge a story mode, it could be. I think they've already set the release date and they're going to announce it at XO since Ninja Theory is going to be there. Look, that's not my thing at all. I couldn't care less about Bleeding Edge or I hope Ninja Theory does some good games for them, but I don't think Bleeding Edge is it. I was not a fan of Hellblade either. Like, I know I was saying that before Microsoft even bought that. I had it for PS4. I didn't before it was even coming to Xbox. I had it for PS4, and I was just like, this is not my type of game. Looking puzzles, yeah, the game looks gorgeous, but it just is not my type of game. Let's see. Gears Pop, I'm guessing, is dead now. I don't hear anyone talking about it. Yeah, I mean, technically, no. Nobody's talking about it. Well, the funny thing is they announced over 1 million players on Gears Pop, right, within the first week, and they announced 3 million players the first week on Gears 5. So Gears 5 only garnered 2 more million people, and we haven't heard any news or numbers since then. So that's kind of weird. To me personally, I think Gears Pop is what they should be doing. Like, if you want to do mobile games, do it like Nintendo. Come out with specific mobile games that utilize your IP. I just do not see a world in which gamers are going to, bring their phone and their fanny pack and their controller and the thing to hook the controller up to the phone and play that stuff where they, on the bus or the train or whatever. I just don't see that being a big viable thing going forward. And I just think they're betting wrong. Sneaky and Freaky says, oh, here we go. How about those Ravens? I'm Eastern Shore. My internet is crap too, but real talk, I thought you were Xbox all the way. Now you seem hesitant. Well, listen, I like Xbox. I think Xbox One X is the best box with the worst exclusives. That's the point of contention for me, right? I prefer Xbox and the ecosystem and achievements and the controllers and Xbox Live, but they have the worst exclusives. And I know multiplats are a thing too, but it's like, why can't I get some decent exclusives announced? Why can't I get anything announced to make me feel good about Xbox again? Like, I just feel like I've kind of hit this point with Xbox where I don't feel good about the brand anymore. They refuse to announce anything. Whenever Phil Spencer makes any kind of comments on Twitter or anything anymore, it's always something about xCloud or Game Pass or something along those lines. I want him to just be like, hey man, we know you guys really want these AAA exclusives, and we promise we've got them. We're gonna this E3, or we know we promise these things every E3 and don't deliver, but for serious this time, we're going to really deliver. And that's all I'm hoping for. I'm not asking for like a million things. Show me a Fable. Show me another new AAA IP. They haven't announced a new AAA IP since 2015. That's not asking for much. Like, why should we have to go through an entire generation with next to nothing? That's been my problem. It's like somebody today on Twitter, I think JD Gamer, shout out to him. He's a cool guy. He goes, he's a big Xbox fan, and he's like, things are rolling now, we just got Gears, and we're getting Halo next year and Ori 2, and I brought it up to him. I'm like, dude, we already had Halo, Ori 1, and Gears previously, and it didn't help Xbox at all. Like, having those same games again isn't helping Xbox. Like, if anything, it might be hurting Xbox. So yeah, it is a little bit interesting to see that. But yes, my Ravens absolutely crushed the New England Patriots. Paper champions. Tom Brady looked like he was 53 years old out there. I can't say this enough. Sports, but I've never seen a quarterback throw more little dink and dunk passes to the running back, out to the flats, screen pass. Like, this guy's got a noodle arm, and the only time that he tried to go deep, he got picked off. So, yeah, and he still complains to the ref every time he takes a bump, right? Like, I don't like that. So, yeah, I'm happy. It seems like he's about done. Lamar Jackson, right? I know he's on my team, but he's my favorite player. And my older favorite players were obviously, like, I was a big Ray Lewis fan and Ed Reed fan and these guys because I've been a Ravens fan. I'm from Baltimore, so Lamar Jackson, 22 years old, one of the most humble guys you've ever met, man. He signs autographs all day long. He won, but he was still upset about missing a pass. He really just wants to win, and I like the guy. And watching him is super exciting. That's something that, as a Ravens fan, think about it. If you're a football fan, okay, Ravens have always had a really good defense, and their offense have always sucked and were boring. Now, for the first time, it's like you want the offense to get the ball because this guy's like a Madden cheat code or something. It's crazy. He's like, the guy has got skills, man, and I'm just happy that he's on my team. Really, really good. I'm happy with that. Enrico says, I have my notifications and it seems to work. Yeah, some people it works, some people it doesn't. It's unfortunate. Crackdown 3 was overhyped. I agree. I don't care what they say about Death Stranding. I will still drop $640 on both special edition bundles. Hey, man, you can't. I don't blame you, man. I'm not blaming you whatsoever. So what about gamers who are young truck drivers who will definitely game while being gone from home? Yeah, I think that's cool, but why wouldn't you just have a Switch? Like, you might not have a good internet connection long enough to really do internet connection long enough to really do that. So I really think that that's something that that people have to keep in mind as well. Like, your internet connection is going to be a thing. So I don't have the best internet technically. I think I have something like 30 megabits down, and like I said, at tops maybe 1.5 up. So that's more than enough technically to run xCloud and all this stuff. But the problem is, even when I run Netflix or Hulu or whatever at 1080p, it's a situation where if more than one person in the house, like, if the kids are using it, it gets a little bit, kind of glitched up or pixelated. And I guess that's what happens with the xCloud and stuff like that too. Like, it gets pixelated and starts lagging frames and stuff like that. Like, that to me would be a huge issue. And then as far as like being on the road, I know like people keep hyping up 5G and stuff, but you're years away from that. So I just don't see the relevancy behind it. I think the Switch is popular because, it has the games themselves. The real problem is, like, people like stuff like Call of Duty Mobile or PUBG Mobile or Fortnite Mobile, and I understand why they do, for the simple fact that, those games are really well done, and you can download them. You don't have to worry about, like, streaming them in addition to anything else. So, you need, a little bit of a connection. Like, I think to play an online game, you need, 1-2 megabits to play efficiently, and to stream these games you need at least 10 plus the online or whatever. So I think it's a lot easier just to have a game natively playing on your piece of hardware. Hold on. Raxel says, crap, I'm a level 104 multiplayer in Call of Duty. What's your ranks? I haven't played much on the multiplayer yet. I'm playing through the single player still. 36 Black says, as a Niner fan, the Ravens scare the crap out of me in a few weeks. Well, listen, I would love to be the team that knocks you guys off of undefeated ranks as well. The Ravens are very optimistic, and not only that, but they seem to be healthy and stuff like that. Hey, everybody, hit the like button. Let's get up to 125 likes. I would love it if you guys could do that. TLR9 says, we are all talking pixel counting 720p, 1080p, 4K HDR on our big screens. Now everyone wants to play on a 5-inch phone screen. This was something that I mentioned, and I'm going to talk about it because you guys might know Southbound. I think he does TXR podcast. Good buddy of mine. He tweeted out a picture of himself sitting in his living room, squinting, bent over, with an Xbox controller playing on a phone with xCloud, and he was tweeting it at, like, Phil Spencer. And I'm like, hey, man, that's cool, but aren't they trying to sell us 8K and 4K and 120 frames and, like, HDR and all this kind of stuff? And, you look like you're at your house playing on a little 4.5-inch screen. Like, that to me isn't the future. That to me is, the past. Like, that's not fun to me. That's a huge disadvantage. I don't want to play against people like that. You know what I mean? Like, just in my opinion. I actually want to play against people on, like, the same level as me with a controller or something like that. That's why, if you look at what's going on with stuff like Fortnite, or which, by the way, somebody got banned for using aimbots on the PC. It's like, this is why I'm against crossplay with PC. Okay, how is that not going to be a thing or a problem for Xbox games? I'm telling you, like, this stuff is a huge problem, and people don't like to talk about it. But yeah, like, for me personally, I just find it to be a huge issue where, you know, we keep seeing all these things keep popping up, like, oh, this person's got an aimbot. Trust me, I played Sea of Thieves. I loved that game. And it got ruined because they wouldn't allow you to turn off crossplay, and we used to get attacked by people on PC that had all these like glitches and cheats and stuff like that enabled, and so it makes the games not fun, right? Like, who wants to play against somebody that's got like aimbots and glitches and can like see you? They turn down this is a big thing with PC, not just cheating, but hey, like, I can remember on the PC version of PUBG, people used to turn down their foliage. So if you're hiding in the grass and they have their foliage turned down, they don't have any grass on their screen. They see you. Okay, this is something that's in most games. So it's a huge advantage for PC gamers to turn that stuff down, and you wouldn't even be any the wiser to know. So yeah, I find that to be a real problem. That PlayStation gamer says, oh, Judah Zook says, yeah, I really do not get or want to play a leg around a big controller, play on a tiny phone screen. Yeah, I don't get it either. Squeamish says, I will use xCloud for like 10 to 20 minutes when I'm out and about. Hey, that's cool, man. I'm never telling anybody what to play or what to like. You know, I feel like people can play and like whatever they want, and that's cool. I'm just giving my own personal opinions on this stuff. That PlayStation gamer says, Halo has been dead since Halo Reach. The day Bungie left Microsoft was the day Halo lost its soul. Well, listen, I liked Halo 4's campaign. I thought the multiplayer was lackluster. Halo 5 had a terrible campaign, and the multiplayer was good eventually. So if they can get them both together, I think it'd be good. But I have a feeling that they're really going to make this Halo Infinite Corporate Edition with, like, microtransactions and all this kind of stuff. I really, really don't want to see that. So I hope that they don't do that. Peter Parker says, we as consumers could control the narrative if we all spoke with our wallet, but people will always be there, the quote, I bleed green. Yeah, this is a problem as well. You know, again, like, I used to be that guy too, you know, like, oh my gosh, I love Xbox so much, they're the best, etc., etc. At some point, we all just have to kind of realize and just say to ourselves, you know, I get it, I like Xbox, but you guys are doing it wrong, or you messed up here, or you messed up there. That's a real problem, you know. Like, I just really think that that all these companies can learn from each other and just pay attention to the fans, and we'll all be a little bit better off, in my opinion. I haven't talked about Xbox sales. Oh, so anyway, according to like the Xbox sales or whatever, it's kind of come out that like we knew that they kind of trailed off, right? But it looks like they've trailed off even more so than what people would have thought with over a year. My point is to this, right? Like, I get it. It's the end of the generation, and I feel like, okay, PlayStation, the sales have dropped off as well, and I think that that's pretty clear. But for my opinion is, why did they announce consoles so far in advance, knowing that it would potentially kill off the sales for the current hardware stuff? Or why didn't you lower the price? Why is it, guys, have you guys noticed the Xbox One S is still technically like $299 that's the suggested price. The X is still $499 at the suggested price. The PlayStation 4 is still $299 at the suggested price, and the Pro is $399 at the suggested price. We're getting new consoles next year. Like, I think that the Xbox One S should be $150 and the PS4 Slim should be $150. Like, let people get in on these things for the next year and enjoy themselves into the next generation, right? Like, I do not understand. We used to see price drops all the time. I don't understand why we're not seeing any price drops anymore. It just doesn't. It boggles my mind. Let's see. There's a ton of good questions here. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, I like these questions. Here we go. I agree, crap. Worried about the future of Gears and Halo. Listen, like I said, Gears 5 is technically kind of a good game, but they just really freemiumed it up. So I can't abide by that. Sir X-Man says, crap, are we still going to have our HDMI bypass on Scarlett? No, we're not going to have HDMI in anymore, unfortunately. It's all for gaming. Oh, Relizaire says there's an aimbot on consoles. You buy that Chronex Max thing. That's not an aimbot. That's just a keyboard and mouse, and you don't even need to buy that. On Gears 5, you can just plug in a keyboard and mouse natively and play it, apparently. So, yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Squeamish says, I will always play on my TV, though, when I am at home and at Crap Game. Yeah, you know what? Me too. I'm never going to play, I don't really play phone games. I don't mess with that stuff. My fiance does, but it's not my thing. She doesn't play, like, hardcore games, though. You know, it's like, you know, like puzzle games and stuff like that she plays. So, Clark to Kent says, Xbox cannot do new IP. Forza, Gears, Halo is the only thing they do. Uncharted was okay, but then came Uncharted 2, 3, and 4. Amazing games. Let's see. DS2 will be nice to play on PS5. We know Sony do sequels and new IP. Xbox does nothing. I'm hoping that Microsoft hears this, because this has been my complaint for a while now. I think it's like, I get it. Halo, Gears, and Forza used to be these great franchises. And, you know, Forza is a great franchise still, but you know, Halo and Gears in particular, they aren't even made by the same teams that made them originally or made them great to begin with. So they're kind of suffering, and, you know, and they're long in the tooth, and there hasn't been anything to buffer those games either. What I mean by that is, you know, there used to be like a buffer where, you know, where it was concerned, where, you know, if you look at what happens with Sony right now, okay? So you had like Detroit Become Human in between Spider-Man and God of War. You know, you have to have something new to buffer that. And Microsoft hasn't had anything to buffer their old long in the tooth IP, and they haven't been great or must-have games. If somebody goes to me, I was thinking about picking up an Xbox One, what are the great exclusives that you would suggest me playing? I could give them a list of games to play, but I don't know if any of them would truly be considered quote-unquote great. You know, I could be like, Quantum Break's a good laugh for, you know, a good bit of fun for 4 or 5 hours. You know, I think the Gears games are okay. The stories are bad, though, so if you're just looking for something to play through the single player, that might not be the best bet. You know, Sunset Overdrive, that was probably the most fun I had on Xbox this generation. It's like, people go back all the way to the launch, and they're like, well, play Rise, Son of Rome, that was really good. It's like, dude, that was like, you know, 6 years ago, and it wasn't that good. It had a decent story and potential and nothing else. You know, so it's a real problem that people got to go back to the launch year of the Xbox One to find a decent game to play. That's super sad to me, because surely it isn't, you know, State of Decay 2 or, you know, Sea of Thieves. I mean, I guess Sea of Thieves is okay now, but, you know, surely there's, you know, those aren't, like, to me, like the games that a lot of people are looking to play. You know, they haven't had a single RPG this entire generation that was exclusive. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. Anyone else notice how games are slowly going up in price? Wait till it's digital only and pre-owned prices become zero competition. Yeah, listen, a lot of people hate that I bring this up. This is another reason why Stadia and xCloud and stuff isn't going to work for me, because one, you're losing out on game preservation. These companies want this, though. They want us to not own our games. They want us to not be able to trade our games with our friends or trade them in at the used game store or whatever. They want that, because then they can totally control the prices. Now, listen, you can get physical games way cheaper most of the time. Like, if you go on Amazon, it's like, oh, well, buy Devil May Cry for $15 for the physical copy, brand new. But the digital copy is still $60, right? This is going to be a big problem. There's not going to be that competition to do that. There's still going to be game sales and stuff, but it's just not going to be nearly as to what we're used to. So yeah, it is a little bit interesting to see how that's kind of working out. And I do hope that we start to see some kind of issue, some kind of thing that changes that in the future. You know, just because I feel like, you know, Microsoft and Sony, they want us to play and pay as much as possible for these games. So yeah, it is going to be a very interesting thing going into next generation. Hopefully, you know, hopefully we can see something come of this and some kind of change for the better. You know what I mean? Let's see. We got, let's see. Okay. Oh, Okay, well, I'm doing a podcast. I'm almost done, okay?
Daddy,
Yes.
put it on a puzzle.
I will in 1 minute, okay? Dumoxis says, crap, I believe I live in Europe. Xbox One S now costs €205. I buy it. Xbox One X 369, cheapest internet shop I found. I understand what you're saying, but they haven't officially dropped the prices for any of this stuff yet, right? That's my main point. They haven't exactly dropped the prices of them officially. Like, do you guys remember the price drops used to be a big thing to announce at E3, right? We're officially dropping the price to this or that, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, they used to be able to drop prices and people would be like, hey, that's a really exciting thing. Now it's just like literally the suggested retail price is still the same as it's been for years. So that's a bit of a problem. What's the last game that I finished? Let me think. I don't know. That is a good question. If it doesn't really grab me, I won't really finish it. I did finish through Days Gone. I thought that was a little bit long. Probably a Concrete Genie was a game that I finished. So yeah, I finished different games. It really just kind of depends on how long the game is and kind of what it offers and stuff like that. So let's see. Sir X-Man says, crap, no bypass. I won't be buying Scarlett. I'll just get a PS5. I'm not getting a Scarlett either, especially at launch. I'm going to get a PS5, and then we'll have to see how that kind of works out later on with like trade-ins and stuff like that. I'm hoping that they do a good job. As long as Xbox One is forward compat, Xbox will not see the point of dropping the price. That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that. Hit the like button, you guys. Share it out. I appreciate it. If Halo Infinite is a flop, I have a bad feeling that Halo will be done. You could be right. You could be right. Listen. I see a good question in here, too. Halo Infinite has to nail it. It has to be great. There cannot be any ifs, ands, or buts about it. This could be why people are quitting now, because there might be panicking a little bit. They see Gears has gone through a little bit of problems here and there. So we'll have to see how that works out. Dr. Unkin says, how long do you think Phil Spencer has left in his job? Normally a new head of Xbox each generation. Listen, I don't have any problems with Phil per se. I just feel like Phil would be the way he treats Xbox is like a third-party publisher would treat their own stuff, right? He would be like a good head of EA or a good head of Ubisoft or something like that, where play anywhere you want, anyone. Like, he doesn't fit as a good head of like a console maker, because he doesn't care about exclusives or anything like that. So to me, that is a little bit of a problem. How would I feel if Sunset Overdrive 2 was PS5 only? Well, if there is a Sunset 2, it will be PS5 only. So we will see that. Killer Instinct, I love Killer Instinct, but guess what? You know what? I don't think we'll ever see another one. Literally, one of the biggest fighting YouTubers, Maximilian, had this movement going, and not a single peep from Phil or anybody. So I don't think we're going to see that. Sneaky says, crap, as someone who lives in more rural areas, I feel streaming is the wrong way to go in the future. Not everyone has great internet. Yeah, I agree. And then also the funny thing is, I bring this up and people go, well, 5G will come about and there's options right now. But I do feel like even though there's options right now, there won't always be options. So we have to keep that in mind going forward as well. Battletoads! Exactly. Gerald says Xbox has no games. That's why they have backwards compatibility. Yeah, you know what? I feel like backwards compatibility was brought out to help kind of compensate for the lack of games that Microsoft was dealing with. So I do think that at the end of the day, Microsoft, really dropped the ball with exclusives. I don't really need to get into that anymore, but they really, really did drop the ball with their exclusive games, and that's kind of unfortunate. But I do feel like, we might see something in the future from them that can attract. They need a big game. They need something that everybody's talking about, like in Outer Worlds, but different. Like, they need something on that level of big that's a new IP to attract gamers, because they haven't really done that. And Halo and Gears and Forza isn't going to do that for them in the future anymore. So they need that game that has people talking. And it's not Battletoads, and it's not Bleeding Edge, and it's not Flight Simulator, and it's not Ori 2. I mean, those are fine in and of themselves, but those aren't big games or big reasons for people to buy an Xbox or one into that ecosystem. You know, God of War and Spider-Man and The Last of Us 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Those are games that people are going to want to play. You know, those are games that are worthwhile getting into an ecosystem. The Rock Solid Gaming says, I might get PlayStation 5 first, then down the line I'll get an Xbox Scarlett. I do like both of them. I'm just a gamer. Dude, I hear you, man. I'm just a gamer too. I try to own everything, but just the realist in me says Microsoft doesn't care. They might go third party part way through next generation. I'm not really sure, but I do feel like there was heavily substantiated rumors that Microsoft tried to shop Halo Master Chief Collection to the PS4 at some point this gen, and they also was a rumor that they were going to announce Game Pass on both Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, and then something happened last minute where they didn't. So I'm not convinced at all that Microsoft even wants to stay in the hardware business. You know, the money for them is in the services, the Game Passes, and so I'm not sure what they're going to do. Let's see. I'm interested to see how the strand mechanic in Death Stranding will play out once millions are playing it, leaving stuff for other players to build roads. Yeah, I think that's the idea. So we'll have to see how that works out. Crap, the multiplayer, Modern Warfare multiplayer plays like the old days. You might like it. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I might boot that up tonight and play it. I'm almost done with the campaign, which I got to say, man, best looking Call of Duty I played. Really well done. I'm excited. I'm happy they brought the multiplayer back for sure. Let's see. Nine Live says, crap, give Phil some time. He just bought studios. Man, I've given Phil a lot of time. I'm not, what can he do? There's not like I can really say much about it, to be honest with you. Social Join says, Death Stranding has more non-PS gamers talking about the game. PlayStation gamers and simply looking at it another game to play and add to our collection. Could be, is for sure. Dumoxis says, crap game, you from America? Yes, yep. He says in Europe, Xbox One S costs 205 to 240 euros. Xbox One X 369. Yeah, those are good prices. Here, it's like, I don't know the exchange rate, but you can usually find an S for $250 and an X for $450 to $500. For some reason, the X's are really expensive. Let's see. Has anyone seen or heard anything about the SAD edition since it was launched? I haven't heard anything from it. Oh, you brought me some candy. Thank you. Which console? I'm getting the PS5 first, simply because I feel like Sony never let down where the exclusive games are at, right? The exclusive games are the most important thing for me, and I think that they're going to be so close in what we see, right? I think they're going to be so close in power that it's really just going to come down to the games, and I just feel like Sony has the upper hand there. Gears is a game I used to love, but I feel like I've lost that kind of, I don't really feel that for that game anymore. Halo, I feel like they're going to kind of ruin it the way that they did Gears. What's going on, bud?
You got it, Dad.
Yeah, I know. Go play. Ooh, that cough sounds bad. Yeah, excuse me. So anyway, yeah, as I'm going to have to help him out here in a minute. So I'm going to answer a few more questions, though. Let's see. Have I beaten the campaign yet? I didn't. I'm almost through with it. But I do got to say I love it. I think that they did such a good job with it. And I'm very happy that they were able to sort of get what they could out of it. And not only that, but it surprised me with just how good it really was. The voice acting and stuff. I wasn't sure that I was going to like it as much as some of the other ones. I'll do it. Okay, give me a minute. Don't worry. Hold on. You're not a gamer if you don't have multiple consoles or want multiple consoles. Listen, I would love multiple consoles. The main problem that I have is these new consoles are going to be what? Probably $500-$600 a piece. I think it's going to be hard to really have multiple consoles right at the start of next generation, for the simple fact that these consoles um, are very much going to be expensive and play the same thing. So there's going to be a handful of exclusives or whatever. So for me, the Xbox One X is the most powerful console, right? 60 flop. It's going to play Halo Infinite fine. Probably upscale 4K 60 frames. What more do I need for right now? Whereas on the PS5, whatever they're going to play might require, it's going to be much better on the PS5 than the PS4 Pro, because the PS4 Pro was kind of this half-assed thing. So, I think that's that's little Crapgamer, yes. He was under the weather from today. So, have I visited? No, I've never been to a Microsoft store. So, I haven't had a chance to do that. The new Call of Duty have any old maps? Not yet. How big is the update for Call of Duty? I think the update was pretty significant. So, yeah, get your stuff. That game took me forever to download and a day. Like, holy crap. I downloaded that game for like a day and a half. I don't know. I've never had that problem. Not only did I have to download it for a day and a half, but I didn't even know what game I was downloading, because it was like this weird situation where none of the games show up on my list that I'm downloading. It just says Xbox One, right? So it doesn't even tell me what game. That's some kind of glitch, I think, from the preview program. But yeah, I hope that they can fix that in the future or whatever. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, I spent, dude. Peter Parker says you spent $500 on Xbox with Kinect. Not only did I do that, but I bought an S for $400. I actually bought two S's and two X's. So yeah, I spent a good portion of my money on these hardware for Xbox this generation, because I was really believing Phil Spencer. I was like, man, Phil Spencer's got the idea. He's really going to bring games. He really cares about the gamers and, all this kind of stuff. And it turns out that, he doesn't really care. He, like, to me anyway, it doesn't seem like he cares one way or the other. What we get in terms of, to whatever we're going to be getting. So I really hope that, in terms of what Phil does, I feel like he's got some making up to do. I really do hope that they, I hope that they can bring out the games that everybody's been wanting and stuff like that. I just feel like they've been very lackluster recently, and I think that Phil gets it, that they've actually had that problem, but I just want to say that's cool, but I think that he also could do the opposite and make people feel good about the brand again. Just for the simple fact that people are so upset, you know what I mean? Like, we haven't had any kind of new announcements or anything exciting for Xbox in a very long time. So that's how I feel about that. I do think that, we could get, he could get a little bit more out there for the people. Like, I used to be against what Sony used to do, right? I used to get I was like, man, they're announcing games too soon. What's the deal? This sucks. Why are they announcing games so soon? And then it's like you start to realize that they're announcing these games so soon to get people excited. They want people to get excited about it, and that's a real problem. For Xbox, is people aren't getting excited by Xbox anymore. So, I hope that people, sort of see that into next generation. I hope that Phil realizes you can't go and announce games that are only a year out and expect people to be okay with that. You're going to have to start taking a risk and announcing games that are 2-3 years out, because we've waited so long, and damn if I'm going to wait any longer than that anymore. You know what I mean? It's really unfortunate. Would I work for Microsoft if they offered you a job? Sure, because it doesn't seem like they work very hard. So, I could get my selfie time and my lunch breaks and my naps and all that kind of stuff. It'd be great. How much does cost in the USA? You can buy 500 gig or 1 terabyte for $200. I guess it depends. If you just go into a store like Walmart, they're still going to be full price there. I think you get an S for $250. So yeah. Das Me C says PS5 has everything going forward day one. I agree with that. Microsoft wants to sell services. Even their Xbox is a service, if you think about it, because they're selling you that Ultimate or whatever, where you can rent an Xbox One, rent to own it with Ultimate Game Pass for like a certain amount per month. So even their console is kind of a service or whatever. So yeah, that's a little bit kind of weird to see that as well. But I do find that to be interesting as well. Angel Rosado says Microsoft Store used to have an entire wall from front to back dedicated to Xbox stuff, consoles, games, accessory. Now only has a few consoles and PC with ads for Game Pass. Because if you look at what Microsoft is doing, they only do Game Pass, right? Like even with the Gears 5 stuff that we've seen, it's like we see, oh, Game Pass, play Gears 5 on Game Pass Ultimate. Like that's what we see. They don't even say on Xbox One or anything. It's just like, play it with Game Pass Ultimate. No, it's like that's the way they announce things. That's the way they do things. I'm not a particular fan. Hey, everybody, as you get in here, please hit the like button, share it out. I would love to get 150 likes. That would be pretty damn awesome if you ask me. Microsoft don't want to announce games because Crackdown hurt them last time. Well, listen, here's the thing. You could live in the past, okay? I got married at a young age and ended up getting divorced, and it sucked, right? Does that mean I'm never going to get married again? Of course not. I'm getting married again early next year, okay? So you can sit there and let the past eat you, or you can sit there and try to just go out there and do your best and not think that everything is going to end the same way. Now, sure, Crackdown 3 got announced too early. Scalebound got announced too early. Some of this stuff happens. That's part of gaming. You got to go out there and not be afraid to still do your thing and show some stuff for gamers, because I feel like that's where Microsoft is failing big time. Because you know what? If Microsoft doesn't do it, you know who will? Sony's going to do it. They're going to come out and announce Horizon Zero Dawn 2 and all this kind of stuff. So do I plan on removing a Gears tattoo from my arm? Hell no, man. At the very least, the first 3 Gears are fire, man. Those games were amazing, and they'll always be amazing. So I feel like even if it's just something in time that I really had an enjoyment with and had so much fun with, that's part of my life, and I loved it. It's like even if they changed it now, you know what I mean? Even if I'm not a fan or as much of a fan now, I feel like it was such an amazing. Those first few were so amazing that I have no regrets for that. Peter Parker says Phil Spencer was there when Don Matrick wanted always online. Now everyone is okay with it. Phil Spencer doesn't care about gamers. He just wants everyone subscribing to services. 100%. 100%. Let's see. Phil said he held games back. I think we'll see something at XO19. Listen, 9 Lives. Do me a favor, okay? Because I like you, dude, and I do appreciate you checking out my live streams and my videos and stuff. Listen, do not go into XO19 expecting them to announce anything of significance, right? Like, they might announce, like, something indie that's going into the preview program, but they're not going to announce anything big from any of their new studios. It just wouldn't make sense. If they had anything substantial, they would have announced it at E3. I'm not even sure that if they're going to announce a studio pickup at this point. I mean, Double Fine was probably one of the lamest studio pickups I've ever seen, but, they still announced it or whatever, so I think it's fine. But I just feel like people go into these Xbox events expecting huge things because Microsoft always hypes it like that. And it's unfortunate, but I don't think that we're going to get anything like that. Anything wrong with that. Exactly. The Geeky Nerd says, nothing wrong with announcing games early as long as you got talent and track record to back it up. 100% agree with this. Oh, Enrico, I can't even repeat that, man. X Initiative says, did I like DOA Beach Volleyball and Ninja Gaiden? Yes. Listen, I have those for my original Xbox still. I still got to bring them over to the new place. But yeah, one of the great things about the original Xbox was it was such a power advantage over the PlayStation and stuff like that. They were doing bump mapping and all this kind of stuff. I can still remember playing NFL 2K5 on, I used to play NFL 2K5 on, I bought it for, if you guys remember, the 2K games at that time, the football games were $20, and even the baseball games were $20, and it really was cutting into EA. So I was actually able to buy 2K5 on Xbox and PlayStation 2 and play them both on there, and the halftime show on the Xbox version actually had highlights and stuff like that from your game because you had a hard drive and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was really cool And I gotta say, I was really a fan of that, and Xbox has been, you know, great to me over the years. I've just had so much fun with it. I just wish that they would go back to the exclusives and stuff like that, and understand that that's what people want. I know it was a joke, dude. Don't worry. Let's see. Angel says, sorry, but I have no faith that Ninja, Obsidian, or Double Fine are going to be able to make the same types of games going forward. Yeah, you know, it's going to be interesting to see their first games announced as studios now that Microsoft owns them. I think it's going to be very, very interesting because I think even though they're going to have the ability to announce what they want, I also feel like you know, that they still have this directive that they're going to have to do multiplayer or online co-op and some kind of microtransactions. Yeah, Matt Proof says it's sad. I think we're going to have to wait like 1 to 3 years before we get something crazy from Xbox. I agree. Squeamish says, hey, crap reviews, are you doing Crossfire podcast on my birthday this Friday? Yeah, I'm back to doing the podcast thing. Xbox Nation tomorrow, Crossfire Fridays. Hopefully, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I'm excited by it. We're real 6 years ago, but now Phil Groupies will cheer and dance. Yeah, listen, that kind of, like, the cult of personality thing, I don't get it. Like, he's a charismatic guy, but to be honest with you, I agree 100%. I don't understand everybody's enamored nature towards Phil Spencer. I don't get it. Hopefully, you know, hopefully that's something that we can see kind of change in the future. I honestly do hope that we see something from you know, from them in the future that just knocks our socks off or whatever. You know, that's what I want to see. Something that really, really knocks our socks off. Let's see here. Outer World 76. Yeah, dude, I love NFL 2K5. That was my favorite game. I was so highly rated in that game, man. I used to play online on that, and man, I could like do all the defensive checkdowns and double team and all this kind of stuff like at a blink of an eye. I was so good at that game. I loved it. Yeah, you could put your own music. I remember at that time I think I was putting Audio Slave and stuff in there. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Everybody hit the like button. I would appreciate it. Sonic says, I'm not a fanboy. I'm telling you how it is. Phil Spencer's holding things back until E3 2023. If E3 2020, 2021, and 2022 disappoints you, it's because they are holding it back. Well, dude, how long are we supposed to wait if they're holding it back? You know, at some point you have to prove people, give people a reason to buy your stuff, right? Like, that wait till E3 stuff doesn't really work out, in my opinion. You know, I really hope that they can come out with something to get people hyped up. Like, there's already, like, people that think a lot like me, like, hey, there's not really much of a reason to buy an Xbox to start off next generation. And to be honest with you, there's not. You know, I don't really look at there as being a huge reason to buy an Xbox Scarlett at launch. There's not going to be a big enough difference in, you know, in what we play between that and the PS5. So yeah, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna come down to the exclusives, and Microsoft needs to prove that they can do exclusives. 2023. Well, listen, think about it. We're already in 2020, basically. If let's just take a look at the Initiative, for example. They're supposedly making a big AAA game, okay? They're making a big AAA game, no doubt, okay? Now, think about this. They're making a big AAA game, and they started a year ago. If a new AAA game takes 4 to 5 years, and they started in 2018, and you do the math, and you add 5 years to that, that's 2023. I mean, he's not wrong. Obsidian Entertainment just released The Outer Worlds. Okay? They're going to take at least 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 on the next new big AAA IP. So again, you're looking at 2024. Like, it's not unheard of to think that these games are far out, you know, like, just to be honest with you. What's my top 10 games of all time? Okay. Well, I would definitely have KOTOR on there. I would definitely have Mario Brothers 3 and probably Zelda Ocarina of Time. I would probably be a fool and have NFL 2K5 on there. I know people would be like, "Oh, it's just a sports game." I feel like that game revolutionized sports games. Like, remember the crib before there was even achievements or anything like that. Like, they had your crib that you could deck out and like you could play. You know what was cool about that game? You could download your friend's profile and play against their profile and their tendencies and learn how to beat them through that. Like, the stuff that they were doing back in 2004 in that game are stuff that they don't even do today. Like, they did gang tackling and all this kind of stuff. Realistically, man, such a great game. I think Halo is right up there. God of War is right up there as well. Red Dead Redemption 2, Gears of War. There's so many really great games out there. It's really hard to pin down just a top 10. But, yeah, I'd have to say, man, those for sure, man. It's absolutely incredible games. Sneaky and Freaky says, crap. E3 2020 Xbox has to show Fable 4 and more to at least sell the next Xbox. I do think, to their credit, they will show the next Fable, or at least tease it. Let's see. Angel says, people should be excited for the sequels of current Xbox games, but there is none. Ask PlayStation gamers. They are excited for Horizon 2, Bloodborne 2, if it happens, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, you know what? Microsoft really failed to cultivate their exclusives this generation. That's such a shame, to be honest with you, because I feel like there were games that had potential enough to do something good. So, yeah, that is a little bit of a bummer for me personally. Peter Parker says, why don't we all get both consoles and when everyone can and enjoy everything while we are gamers, aren't we? It's PlayStation first for me, then Xbox as soon as something good. Hey, man, this is the best way to do it. That way there's nothing really exclusive to you or me, you know what I mean? And I'll eventually do that, but it's just at launch I'll have trouble with that, you know what I mean? One Typical says, hey, Nine Lives, we're hoping for it, but it's not likely. Nine Lives says, can't wait to see your faces when Phil unleashes at E3 2020. I hope he does. Social Join says Shenmue 3 comes out in November. Is that going to go on Xbox? Another big game. No, that's a PlayStation console exclusive. I guess that had to do with like that what they did with that game was they crowdfunded that through whatever that site is. And so that's why that game's getting made or whatever. So yeah, very interesting. What was the first console? What was my first console and the first game I finished? My first console was the NES, and the first game that I finished was Mario Brothers, the one that came with it. So I beat the first Mario Brothers when I was a little kid. That was the first game, and the NES was my first console. Then I went from the NES to the Genesis. But then I eventually did get a Super Nintendo as well. But I was a big Genesis fan, man. And Sonic 2 was really great. I actually was lucky enough to have a TurboGrafx 16 as a kid as well. The first console that I bought myself was the Nintendo 64. I bought the Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer console. So that was the first console that I bought myself. But I had a PlayStation 1 as well. My folks got that for us when I was a kid. And I just remember spending a lot of time on like Tomb Raider and stuff like that. My mom was a big Tomb Raider fan as well. She used to really love playing that game. And I remember playing like the 989 football games on there and stuff like that. So I had a PlayStation 1 and a Nintendo 64 was the first one I bought myself. I got a Dreamcast as well. That was like when I got a Dreamcast, man, when I saw the 2K and Sonic Adventure, like, reconnection successful. So that's cool. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, OBS just reconnected on me. If you guys are losing the stream or whatever, sorry about that. Yeah, it did say that's happened. So yeah, I really just had a fantastic time playing games growing up. But I really got into, one of the reasons what I got into gaming was in the early 2000s. I got sick, and I also got, that was when I kind of started with some depression and stuff. And people were like, my doctor was like, hey, you should try Gamer or whatever. And I really got into just playing through stuff. And then I started collecting stuff. Like I started collecting even defunct stuff like Dreamcast games and stuff like that. I'm a big Dreamcast fan. So I remember I played through Shenmue 1. And just that was so different for me. And I really liked the game, even though I don't think it holds up well today. I thought it was really cool. And, the sports games I started playing online and just having a good time with it. And back in 2005, Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out on the PlayStation 2, and that was my first like competitive multiplayer game that I was playing online, and I had such a good time with that. And obviously the Xbox 360 came out, and it was all over from there, man. It was like Halo 3, Call of Duty 4, just amazing, amazing games. Dreamcast 99.99. I remember It's That Gang. So good, man. I still got that stuff. My stuff is boxed up, waiting to come over. But yeah, it's gonna be. You know, I'm excited by the future. I think we're gonna get some really, really good games next generation, and I just hope that everybody kind of holds on and is excited by what we're gonna see. So I'm gonna answer a couple more questions. Shenmue was like Death Stranding in terms of appeal. I don't know. It really depends on what your type of game is that you enjoy. So for me, I'm excited by Shenmue because I thought it was really good storytelling. But Shenmue is more along the lines of like a Detroit Become Human type thing, more so, or Telltale Games almost, more so than Death Stranding. I'm not really sure what to make of Death Stranding yet. I haven't played it. Soul Calibur was even better than the arcade. Let's see. Super Mario Brothers 3 is the GOAT. I love Super Mario Brothers 3. I can beat that game in like 30 minutes, fine with the warp whistles and stuff like that. Like, man, that's still one of my all-time favorite games. I absolutely love it. So everybody hit the like button. I would appreciate it. You guys have been absolutely incredible. Shenmue looks like a Yakuza game. I've heard that before. Yeah, I actually like it. I'm happy to be able to finish out the saga this year, so I'm actually looking forward to that as well. I think that it's you know, it's about time or whatever, you know, and like I said, it's exciting, man. It's very exciting to be able to do that. So if you guys could hit the video, like it, and if you guys really want to support the channel, man, there's always a super chat or become a member, a channel member. It's not expensive, but you know, you get the little icon, and I do the best to answer every question that you ask if you have it, and you know, a couple other little bonuses and stuff like that. So you know, it's been fun just kind of shooting the breeze with you guys, having a good time. You know what I mean? I'm going to answer like maybe one or two more questions, and then I got to get out of here. You know, and take care of some things. So yeah, you guys are awesome, man. You guys, and I do appreciate you. So just know that. Let's see. Go Ravens! I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Is Sea of Thieves more fun than Death Stranding? I haven't played Death Stranding yet. I have it downloaded, but I can't play it until I think the 8th. Sea of Thieves was fun to me because you could play it, get drunk with your friends or whatever. So yeah, you know, with that being said, like that to me is something that that should be there. But anyway, I'm gonna get going. You guys are awesome. Have a fantastic day. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.